Yeah, I'm going
Oh,
to
they
jail.
said you're going to jail, baby. Why? Why would he do
What am I going to
that?
jail for?
No, don't try to put my
Yeah, I'm
baby
going
in
to jail for
jail.
an argument.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. All right.
That's done, honey. King called down to the police precinct, child. They said that was ridiculous, and they cannot file any charges. So, people say anything. Anything, don't, and y'all run with it. Don't run with it, baby.
Was
Gotta
I
check
banned
into
from
it.
the show?
So here's the thing in reference to the show. What happened with that after what we saw on the sandbar? My ex, his ego was stepped on, and so he wanted to get one up on us, and so he decided that he wanted to go to the network and complain and go to the police department and try to quote unquote file some charges. And so for the moment, until we were done investigating, they had said that King can film, but he could not film with the rest of the group at that time. But he could, of course, we have our own personal story, so he could continue to film with.
Alrighty, y'all. Let's get into some serious drama. And no, this isn't from the latest episode of Married to Medicine. This one's playing out in real life, straight out of the courtroom, and it stars none other than reality TV personality Webb. She's known for her sharp tongue, eye-catching fashion, and the ability to keep it elegant even when the drama's flowing. But this time, the spotlight isn't on her because of the show. It's because of her on-again, off-again boyfriend, King. Now, if you thought the drama in reality TV was wild, wait until you hear what's been happening behind the scenes. This man has found himself smack in the middle of a real-life legal mess involving a stolen luxury car, courtroom confessions, and some seriously expensive consequences.
What happened last night, I'm gonna let that shit slide, all right?
Okay.
You don't need to speak to her no more.
I don't want to speak to her no more.
All right, so don't let it happen, all right? And then we ain't gonna have no problems.
Listen,
all right?
Tell her to stop saying the shit that she says.
No, she can say whatever she want to say.
Not to me, though.
Hold on.
Not to me.
No, she said whatever she want to say.
How do you want me not to talk to her and then she can say shit to me?
I'm telling
you.
Does
that make sense to you?
If she says something to you, you address me. You don't speak to her.
Shaq ain't gonna let nothing pop out. No, but I just need you to stay with me. Shaq ain't finna let shit pop out.
You tell her. Don't be coming at me with the crazy shit.
I'm telling you.
And I would, if she coming at me with some crazy shit.
Hold on. I'm telling you some shit right now. I know about the past, right? I ain't gonna go fight the past.
You know her side of the past.
Tell me something different then. Tell me something different.
You gonna find out.
Tell me something different.
You gonna find out.
You don't want to find out.
What don't I want to find out? Listen, I'm a doctor, bro. I ain't got time to be fighting with people who coming up and you talking, sending there like veiled threats. I don't have time to fight you or anybody else.
I ain't making no threats.
I just hope she takes her.
I ain't making no threats.
I hope you sweep her off her feet.
I ain't making no threats.
As far as you can sweep her, bro.
Bruh.
Look, I got no words for her.
I said one thing.
But tell her to stop saying shit
as long
about
as you
me.
ain't got no words, we good.
Man,
all right?
Man. What, man? Who you think you're talking to, bro?
Man, I'm talking to you, motherfucker. What you gonna do? No, we don't need you in here.
No. Like that, because I know how your girl is. So I figured you was like that. What you want to do?
Oh, No.
No. What are you talking about?
That's how they roll.
Oh, hell no.
We're talking about a 2021 Rolls Royce Cullinan. Yes, that high-end luxury UVV that's worth over $300,000. And things have spiraled into a scandal so big, it's making headlines like it's part of the reunion special. Let's break this all the way down. So here's where everything began to fall apart. According to the official complaint, King ended up with a 2021 Rolls Royce Cullinan, but not through a typical purchase. The car was originally leased by a man named Clinton Curry from a luxury dealership. But here's the catch. Curry didn't own the car outright. He was leasing it, which means he couldn't legally sell it, give it away, or transfer it to anyone else. Despite that, Clinton Curry handed the car over to King like it was his to give. And from there, King started riding around like the car was his. He wasn't low-key about it either. He was posting it online, showing off like he just signed the papers himself. But the thing is, the actual leasing company, the real owners of the Rolls Royce, had no idea this was happening. Once they noticed the vehicle was gone and in someone else's possession, they treated the situation as theft. And it wasn't just a misunderstanding. It got worse when court documents revealed that King had written an actual statement admitting he didn't have permission to keep or drive the vehicle. That written confession was included in the legal filings, and it changed the whole case. It went from a maybe he didn't know situation to he definitely knew, and he did it anyway. When someone admits in writing that they took and used something that wasn't theirs, the legal system doesn't just shrug that off. In fact, it moves fast. And that's exactly what happened here.
Teamwork makes the dream work, and in most cases it does.
But in this case,
It's gonna be some shit.
yeah.
Fast forward to March 25, this is the date when things really got serious. King had to show up in court, and it wasn't just about giving the car back anymore. This hearing was about the financial damage caused by the entire situation. Beth Rogers, the attorney representing the leasing company that owned the Rolls Royce, came fully prepared. She wasn't playing any games. Rogers submitted an affidavit, basically a sworn statement with evidence, that laid out everything her legal team had to do to try to get the car back and sort through the chaos King and his circle created. The affidavit showed that she and her team worked for a total of 293.2 hours on the case. Yes, nearly 300 hours. And her rates reached up to $550 per hour. That's not a typo. That means just the legal fees alone added up to over $160,000. That money covered everything from tracking down the vehicle, filing legal motions, attending court hearings, reviewing documents, and investigating everyone involved. This wasn't just about one guy with a car. It became a complex case with multiple people tied in, and it took serious time and resources to sort out. And if you're wondering whether the judge took all of this seriously, the answer is absolutely yes. The court reviewed all the paperwork, all the evidence, and King's own confession, and ruled in favor of the leasing company. Let's talk numbers for a second, because the price tag on this mess is jaw-dropping. The legal fees alone hit $160,000. That doesn't even include the actual cost of the Rolls Royce itself, which was valued at over $300,000. Then you've got court costs that build up as the case drags on. And this one wasn't resolved overnight. It took months. So now, we're easily looking at a situation where the total cost could climb to $500,000 or more once everything is finalized. And there's still more to be added, like potential interest and recovery costs. If the court decides to go all the way in, they could allow even more financial penalties to be added to the bill. And it gets worse if King or anyone else involved doesn't pay up. The court can place liens on their property. That means homes, businesses, cars, anything they own could be legally marked and seized to help pay the debt. This is no small slap on the wrist. The consequences are very real, and they don't go away quietly. Even if King wanted to keep this situation quiet, it's too late. This entire legal case is now part of the public record. That means anyone can search it up. Employers, business partners, fans, brands, if they do a background check or even a simple Google search, this case will come up. And while Webb's name doesn't appear directly in the court documents, she's absolutely being associated with the drama. She's a public figure on a hit reality show. Her personal life and the people she's connected to are always under a microscope. So even though she wasn't part of the lawsuit, this situation is now a part of her public image. People are going to have questions, and the internet is already buzzing. One thing that made this case move so quickly was the lack of argument. Nobody was fighting the facts. King literally admitted in writing that he knew he didn't have permission to use the car. There were documents, receipts, statements, everything the court needed to make a decision without calling in a jury. Because the facts were clear and undisputed, the judge ruled without hesitation. And get this, the judge didn't just say King was wrong. The ruling described King's actions as intentional misconduct. That's a legal term that basically means this wasn't a mistake. The court believes he knew exactly what he was doing and did it anyway. That's not the kind of language you want attached to your name in any legal situation. Here's where things go from a solo mistake to a group operation. The court documents didn't just name King. They also included Clinton Curry Sr., Clinton Curry Jr., and a woman named Janique Harris. These people were allegedly involved in handing over, keeping, or being in possession of the Rolls Royce. And Janique, this is where the mystery deepens. According to the lawsuit, Janique Harris was the last person seen with a vehicle before it disappeared completely. When asked about what happened, her explanation was, let's just say, bizarre. She reportedly told the leasing company's attorney that she was drunk, left the keys in the car, and walked away. Now, imagine this. You're in a $300,000 luxury SUV, you get drunk, and you just leave it on the street with the keys in it and stroll off like it's no big deal. Yeah, the court didn't buy that story either. And you can't really blame them because that just doesn't add up. Since then, no one has been able to recover the vehicle. It's still missing, and Janique's whereabouts are just as unclear. She hasn't made any public statements. She hasn't appeared in court, and no one seems to know where she is. Her name, however, remains in the court filings, so the legal system hasn't forgotten about her. If she played a role in the car disappearing, or if she knows what happened, she could still be brought back into the case in a big way. Even though the judge already ruled on King's misconduct and the legal fees, the case isn't officially over. That $160,000? That's just part of it. The final judgment still has to be made. The court has yet to determine exactly how much money King and the others involved will have to pay in total once the cost of the vehicle, court expenses, and potential damages are factored in. And depending on how shady the court thinks this whole thing was, the final amount could be even higher. There could be extra financial penalties, and more names might get pulled in before it's all said and done. So for now, the story isn't finished. But we're already seeing the damage unfold, and it's not looking good for anyone involved. Here's the big question everyone's asking. Did Quad know any of this was going on? Was she aware that her man was driving around in a luxury car that didn't belong to him? Was she part of this? Or is she just as shocked as the rest of us? There's no way to know for sure right now. She hasn't made any public statements about the case, and her name doesn't show up in the court documents. But that hasn't stopped people from wondering and talking. Because when you're in the public eye, especially on reality TV, your private life becomes entertainment. Whether she knew or not, her reputation is definitely feeling the heat. One thing's for sure, next time you see someone rolling up in a $300,000 luxury SUV, make sure they didn't get it from someone who never even owned it in the first place. This entire situation is messy, expensive, and far from over. We'll be keeping an eye out for the final judgment and breaking it all down when it drops. But for now, what do y'all think? Was Quad just caught in the crossfire, or was she turning a blind eye? Drop your thoughts below, because this case is one for the books.